The world is chaotic, as we know.
So that's why worldwide countries are preferring the Pfizer
The variations
or
to it.
Jason. Or
Yeah, they're just some dumb people call me that.
whoa, come on. we were just supposed to go for 2 weeks and then come back. Hello everyone, welcome to our first episode, the introduction to our podcast. My name is Alex.
And my name is Jason.
There we go. So we will jump right into the podcast, but first, some worldwide news. I think, Jason, you're up first. What's going on?
So what's going on in the world? The world is chaotic, as we know.
Pretty much.
And which country is especially chaotic right now is definitely the United States. The world's eyes are
America.
on the States right now because of the presidential, running things. And as we know, bunch of Trump supporters, a lot of Trump supporters, kind of invaded, I quote, the U.S. Capitol
Stormed the
last week.
capital. Jeez.
Yeah, and well, there are some debate that Trump actually, it's, to my perspective, it's kind of like planned, right? Like you see T-shirts with, January 6th,
I
like
think a coup
revolutions.
is the word you're looking
Yeah,
for. A coup.
yeah, I think so. And Trump also has this giant speech in front of the White House on that day. He said that, let's march to Congress, let's march on the Pennsylvania Avenue and stuff. Uh, and this topic is being hit up quite a lot in the States, and it's it's surprising and not surprising to me at the same time.
I think
Because
the entire
it's,
world has that view. Like it's just,
yeah,
it was expected. It was like
it
it's not
builds
surprising.
up. Yeah, it builds up to this point. So let's hope that President-elect Joseph Biden wouldn't get assassinated on his day this week. Um, I think there's a big chance because things like that happened. What else cannot happen, right? So there must be a lot of things going on to protect, the elects. And I just saw a news according to CNN, President Trump wouldn't be present at the inauguration,
Uh-huh.
um, which I mean could further divide, the country when unity is needed. So that's really hit it. How about jump to some very recent? Let's hear some good news about the world.
Well, not precisely good news because what I'm about to talk
Okay.
about is a bit of COVID-19. The thing that completely ruined 2020 for everybody. But I'll just give you the numbers because again, this is just the news. So, as today, we have like around 87 million cases worldwide, around 50 million health cases, which recovered, and almost 2 million dead. Damn.
It's crazy, right?
It's crazy, but as we said, we're gonna at least put some good news, shine some sunlight. So as we all know, the miracle has happened. The vaccines have come. So I'm gonna talk about a little bit about them for those who don't really understand. So right now there are two major vaccines. It's the Moderna and the Pfizer. Right now, the Pfizer is a little bit more popular because they are allowed to vaccinate kids who are older than 16. But both vaccines have two doses. The Pfizer, you take one and they have to wait 21 days. Unless the Moderna, they're not letting kids from 18 or younger take the vaccine, and it's 31 days apart, so a month apart. So that's why worldwide countries are preferring the Pfizer. I can tell you right now in Canada, the government has already paid for it. So in Canada, it's going to be free for everybody. And of course, the first aspect, or the first, or phase one for each country, which I think it's fair, is to vaccinate the first line of defense: doctors, nurses, people who have been,
frontline workers.
yeah, people who have been risking their lives since the whole thing started, and also the
Yeah,
most, vulnerable,
vulnerable.
yeah, the elderly or people with some sort of diseases. But the good news is that it's getting spread. Of course, there's some crazy people on the news and on TikTok who think that you will grow a third eye, or you will no longer have kids if you if you vaccinate yourself. But I can assure you
Yeah,
that every vaccine has its own side effects. But I don't think.
yeah, and for sure because it's so quickly developed, right?
Yeah.
And the long-term effects hasn't been discovered yet. But personally, I do encourage everybody to get vaccine if they can, if they are able to. Um, and just to say, I mean, in Canada there might be two, but worldwide there are more vaccine being developed in every other countries. Like in China, right now our plan, the government's plan, is to get start the general vaccination on the 14th of this month. Um, the frontline workers have been getting vaccinated for a while now,
Mm.
and now it's open to the general public. Um, and yeah, just let's hope things will get better
Oh, yeah,
after
we
this.
will touch
Hope
that
this year
subject
will
in a
be good.
second. Yeah, we'll touch on that
Hmm.
subject in a second. But I think we should just jump right into the main body of this first episode of our podcast. So let's start off with the
Hmm.
first question. So who are we? Because I don't think we've mentioned our names in the introduction. So I think there's a good chance, a good idea to introduce
Yep.
ourselves. So how about you go
We
first,
actually
Ray?
mentioned, but yeah,
Did we? Well,
yeah, we said.
it's a bit of a shambles right now,
But
but
I have a second name.
yeah.
Yay. So I will start. Hello. I'm Jason Lee.
Jay.
My actual name is not Jason. Because I named myself that for English speaker to understand, or they can pronounce it. But my actual name is Muji, but proper pronunciation is Muji. Okay, try, try. I dare you.
Oh, me. Oh, oh, I
Yeah,
can't say mooch. Well, I
yeah.
can't
Those
say.
who are listening or in front of the screen, just try. Muji. But people call me Muzi or Moose or Mooj. Like there are a lot of variations
Or
to it.
Jay, Jason, or
Yeah, they're just some dumb people call me that.
whoa, whoa,
And
whoa, whoa, come on. Wait, wait. It's like,
yep, and as you can tell, I'm Asian and I'm from China. Uh, yeah, I study at the University of Waterloo. Went to high school with this person, and in Canada as well. And I'm very interested in all the arts, including, visual music, films, theater, design, and, extended one will be architecture, urban planning. I'm actually studying urban planning as my bachelor degree. And I love education. I love cultures, diversity, love traveling. Um, yeah, how about you, gentle
oh.
sir?
Well, to those who don't know me, my name is Alex Vera. Again, if those who really, really know me, you will know that Alex Vera is also not my real name, but we'll get that. We'll
So
also
what
get.
it is?
uh, I hate say I
Mario.
I never agreed to this part of the podcast, but yeah, my full name is Mario Alejandro Vera Esparza. For some, that's a very long name. For some, that might be short.
It is a
Well,
long name.
it's a Latin name. I am from Mexico, born in Argentina, and but right now I'm currently studying in Canada in a university called Brock University. I am studying sports management. Wow, my English, because one of my interests and passions is, well, sports, and to be more specific, soccer. Of course, living in Mexico, soccer is a religion, and it's hard not to not to see it, or it's hard to ignore it. So I fell in love with the sport. But also, since I was a kid, I loved playing tennis, handball, even though I'm not that tall, basketball. So yeah, my major interest has always been sports. Of course, like everyone, music. I think we
Mm,
share the same interest in some musical tastes, like
yeah.
musicals. I've got to say he's much more creative than I am, but I do like the arts. I do love traveling as well. I was lucky enough to live and to travel around the world with in the past, and still hoping to do it in the future. It's fingers crossed with everything going well with COVID.
Mm,
Uh, I don't know what else that there is to me sports, and that's pretty much
yeah.
it.
You're
Um,
basically in the cult of sports.
basically, like basically, but I would like to, with going with that and going to the fact that I'm in Canada and we both mentioned that we went to high school together. I will digress to question two, and I'll start, which is, how did we meet? JSN here has another interesting story, or has a
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
interesting fact of, I have a different completely perspective, but he had, and I didn't notice
Yeah.
until like we were a year in as friends,
Actual friends.
actual friends. But I'll start off with my version. So
All right.
I went to Ridley College, which is a boarding school here in Canada, very close to Niagara Falls, in a little town called St. Catharines. International school, many people. And I came there in 2018 as a new
Mhm.
student. I was living in Mexico before that, and I just wanted a fresh start. I wanted to kind of also get out of the country. It wasn't getting pretty where I was living, so I just really wanted to uh, find a new life, and I chose that school because I really liked the campus. But that's not part of the story. So basically, where we met is that in this school, there are houses, kind of like Harry Potter, uh, with their houses and
Close.
dwarves. So
Yeah, it's an
there,
Anglican school, so
yeah, there were
a lot of
five.
British things.
Yeah, there were five boys and four girls dorms, and
Mm.
we were a part of the same male dorm known as the Merid North, the Panthers. And there's where we met. We met in grade 11. Uh, to be honest, my first impressions of Jay here was he was kind of a kiss ass, but then I learned that it was just himself, and being how he is. Because when you saw what he did for the school, which was so many things, and out of his, like, he expected nothing in return. I always thought that was just for him to get a good, like, reputation for the teachers. But to be honest, after talking to him and getting to know him, it was just him doing what he liked, which was helping other people. And I think that's something that you struggle with, putting yourself first than
Yeah,
others.
it get quite
Yeah,
irritated at the end of it.
there were some times that it was just, well, not fun for you, to be honest.
Yeah, no.
But
So
yeah, that's
my
my version.
perspective.
My version of the story. Mine is very sweet. Mine is very nice.
Yeah.
But go on, go with yours.
Okay.
Let the public know.
My perspective. Okay. So at the college, we had this welcoming day. Basically, new student coming in, they registered, they signed up for sports and stuff. Alex was being handled by a person who shall not be known or named. Uh,
Ah, yeah.
and at the end of the day, we all have this house gathering. New student come in and old students meet the new students, and we have this meeting. So prior to that meeting, people were socializing, staying on the sofa. Some people, watching TV, playing games. Um, and as I walked into the common room in the house, Alex was playing pool with, I think it was Xavier, one of the student in our grade.
Oh, Xavier is a story too.
Yeah, Xavier, he's quite good at pool. He plays pool. He's quite professional to some extent. And you were playing with against him, right? And
I don't think playing was the correct word.
from
I think
the first
this was the correct word.
the first impression I made out of you was you. It's I don't know. It's kind of like you think you are the best in everything. Okay, like you would say, "Oh man, like you suck. Like I'm the best," and that kind of feeling because you were saying stuff that sounds what align with that subject, and I was like, "Oh, this kid is hard to deal with later on." Um, yeah, basically a show off, okay. And after I have this one of my best friend was Phoenix, a girl from in our grade as well, and we gossip a lot, we chat with each other and talk about other people in the back. Don't do that, people, but it's fun. And when Alex was in this very interesting mess,
Dynamic.
where
Let's call
this
that. Let's
dynamic,
call it a dynamic.
very interesting dynamics. We were like making a lot of jokes and fun out of
See,
the dynamic.
this is what I meant by it's called bullying. This is
No,
what
it's
the kid.
not bullying. I never faced. I don't want to interrupt people's dreams because like
No,
this dynamics was going good, but I predicted long ago it wasn't.
and
Okay.
it should have ended long before. So yeah, you were right about
Yeah,
that one.
and I didn't tell you because I don't want you to hurt your feeling, whatever. Although you were a jerk in the house, and
I will defend
yeah,
myself later.
never. And uh, later as we know each other, as this dynamic ends, we started to chat about how things were going, and we became kind of best friends in a way at high school. And yeah, that's interesting.
Well, okay,
It's such a
I want to defend myself because and say some a few things, and
sure.
something you left out. To his words, and I quote, he hated me at the beginning, and I quote, and I will never forget that. But I will defend myself in this way. When you, I was a, if you really get to know me, and I don't know, Jason doesn't really understand this perspective about me, but I do, and many people do. But like when people know me, you'll tend to understand I'm just like very sensitive and very and just like very I like just quiet too. So
Yeah,
when I first arrived to the school, it was massive. I didn't know anybody, so of
yeah,
course some people's first instinct is to shut down.
yeah.
I wanted
Trying
to,
to be known.
yeah. My first instinct, because I wanted a fresh start, was to
Yeah,
try to as know as many people as possible, and sometimes yeah I agree that I got carried away in some of those aspects.
yeah.
But I think, to be fair with you, I thought we started becoming friends like at the beginning of grade 12, because that was that
Close friends. We were kind of close
at the
at the
at the end too a bit.
yeah.
Yeah, and that was also because I was like getting some stuff together from personal stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
and then everything started going well like after, and then that was when I
Yeah,
had much more time and just much more time to talk about everything.
yeah. And I knock on everybody's doors and check their feelings, so
Yeah, yeah,
it's easy.
you were the therapist, but no, meeting, being in that school and experiencing everything I experienced, I think for both of us, especially you, I think you changed a lot. I changed a
I
lot.
did.
I learned a lot from everything that happened to me during that school. We both did the IB. Those who know. For those who don't know,
International
the,
Baccalaureate.
those who don't know,
Yeah.
I envy you. But yeah, so I think we both have a very interesting dynamic as friends, because at the end of the day we had a very uh, interesting friendship. in terms
Yeah,
of
it is.
personality, and that's exactly why we're doing this podcast too,
Yeah.
because we're
Well,
so
very opposite.
yeah, we're very opposite, but we do correlate, and we do view certain things at the same way, but we yeah mostly we have different
Yeah.
perspectives. So
Guess what? I guess friendship works like a magnet, you know?
yeah, so it's very
We are.
interesting how it works.
Hmm. Well, let's jump to the next question. We've been talking too long on the last one. So, um, let's talk about our home country. And since we've both been in Canada for a long time, so what do you feel uh, that's different between your home country, which is Mexico, and Canada?
Well, saying Mexico is quite mm, big and kind of hard to point down. I think what you should have said was Mexico City, which is a
Okay.
completely different ball game. I was not born in Mexico City, but I was raised in Mexico City practically. I
Mm-hmm.
stayed there for 11 years of my life, same school, same same neighborhood, same everything.
Yeah.
So it's a big place full of people, loud noises. I don't think there was one day that went by where I didn't hear a siren of the police or ambulance.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think a lot of people have a very uh, not harsh but concrete thought of what Mexico and Mexico City is, and I
Yeah,
can
it's very
tell you,
stereotypical.
yeah, and I can say from a fact that most of those things are incorrect and just wrong. But comparing that to Canada is it's so easy because it's so different. Canada is much, especially where we live. We don't live in Toronto. We don't live in
Mm-hmm.
Montreal. We don't live
It's
in.
very peaceful.
We live in a where we used to live. Where I live currently is a very small town, uh, with very nice people. It's Canada. It's very respectful. Um, it's just a different environment and different way of living and a different way of seeing life. So what does my
Yeah,
country
but
like what does my country mean to me? It's
yeah.
when you're Latin, you're very proud of who you are and where you come from, regardless of what people think of you. You're not
Mm-hmm.
afraid to show those colors. You're not afraid to express what you feel. We're very emotional, very I don't know if passionate is the correct word, but
Yeah.
be able to
Enthusiastic.
yeah, like being able to compare that to the Canadians here, it's a whole
Mm-hmm.
different ball game. So what it means to me is just I learned so much of a character. I think it makes me a stronger character coming coming from Mexico City. So pretty much that's the summary of what it means to what it means to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting because you mentioned that um, you know, most of the stereotypical things are incorrect to
Yeah.
cities and countries. That's why I always encourage people to visit places instead of just hearing about things, because it can be wrong unless we
Mm-hmm.
see it in person. I think China, of course, it's a hot topic, right? Every single
Mm-hmm.
day you see news medias that, oh, this that um and I usually separate things. When I look at a country, I see peoples and culture, not the government, because it's changing, right? The
Mm-hmm.
government is always changing, but the culture, the people aren't. Um, and in China, I do feel like home in both countries, uh, in Canada as well, because I've been there for too long, and I established this connection with St. Catherine, with Toronto. Um, but being home in China and being home in Canada feel differently. Like in China, it's like, oh, I'm home. This is where I was born. I have my friends here. I have Asian, food and stuff. But in Canada, it's more like studying and working kind of home. and China is the living, the life home, the culture home. Um, I don't know. I would say it's very different, right? Like countries, and especially China is on the other side of the Pacific Ocean. Those 13 hours flights aren't easy.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I do feel Canada is like my second home, or even my like first or like home, because I have too many friends there now. Like I'm attached to so many people living in Canada,
Hmm.
and from the school. Um, Next question. Uh,
Sure.
why are we doing this podcast? Alex, why?
Well, first of all, this podcast has been in the works and talking for far too long. We've always every time we talk, we always get into these heated discussions or very interesting conversations, and
Yeah,
we said, oh, and we always said, I really, like we really wanted other people to share or to know our opinions or actually just know what we're thinking or know, or also just yeah, just share our perspectives. So
mm-hmm.
we always wanted to do one of these, and we saw multiple of our peers doing them. We're kind of jumping
Yeah,
into the podcast bandwagon here,
yeah,
but um, we always wanted to do it. And also, I think the main reason why we're doing it is because, as we said before, the different cultures and the different aspects and views we have. So it's a good
mm-hmm.
clash and it's a good conversation that would be nice to put it in the world. So we have so many different stories, we have so much diversity. And also for me personally, I also know for you, Jay, we also want to look back at this like in 20 years and just say, oh,
Yeah.
like we did this, or like, oh,
Oh,
this is
look at that
hey,
kid talking
or
nonsense and
yeah,
stuff.
pretty much like, because as we grow, we learn different stuff, and we um learn what the real world looks like, because right now we're just kids,
Teenagers
teenagers
trying
living and surviving in this world. So I think it would be nice to see like in in the future,
yeah.
just looking at the videos and say, hey, look, we did this. It's just pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but in summary, boredom, wanting to like spread our perspectives and stories, and also for for the jokes, for the laughs.
Yeah. Yeah, it's both serious and really relaxed sometimes. Depends
Yeah.
on what we talk, right? Like,
Yeah, we can talk
well,
about silly stuff, but then we can go deep into, or get
mhm.
a guest here, one of our friends or someone who wants to come on.
Yeah. So next question is, what does decent mean? You might notice that's not a spelling error.
Well, no,
It's
we
on
can spell any.
purpose. Yeah, it's Decemt, because uh we'll talk about this later, but decem in Latin means 10. And each podcast will have 10 questions. That's basically it. And we want to make it rhyme. So we just add the T after it. It sounds like the decent
So
podcast.
it's
But
just it's just a decent podcast. You can hear
yeah,
it.
it
You can
is
choose to
quite
hear it or
decent.
not.
Yeah, yeah. If you don't like it, just like go. No, stay.
But if you stayed before after the 1 minute, we appreciate you being here.
Yeah. Thank you so much. um, you might notice the logo is like a fingerprint. That's also surrounding uh our theme. Diversity. Everyone's different. Individualism. We want to know everybody's background, everybody's cultures, and how they feel about certain things. Um, so that's why it's a fingerprint. And yeah, away from those kind of serious topics, let's talk about lockdown, right? Like we're kind of all in lockdown right now. I'm personally in China where it's out of lockdown. I can go freely. But I know in Canada,
I'm in quarantine
you
right
know,
now.
you are in
I just came back
quarantine.
from the holidays. I've been stuck in this jail cell for a
Yeah.
few weeks.
So I had my quarantine when I flew back to China in May last year,
Mhm.
2020.
Oh
It
yeah,
was
you couldn't go back.
scary.
Yeah, you couldn't go back.
Yeah, I stuck at the college for months, and
Yeah.
finally I got on a plane after 3 tries, and I got back, and here we had mandatory quarantines
Mhm.
in hotel room. So uh, I'll have some photos showing up right now. So I was in this hotel room for 14 days. Did 3 tests on COVID. Got my blood drawn, everything. I spent my 18th birthday in the hotel. Uh, it
Oh
was a
yeah,
tough time,
I
but
remember that. Yeah.
it's for the general good. You know, we are going through this because we want to protect people, we want to protect our country. Um, and it was it was an interesting, like once in a lifetime experience. Like I don't think unless there's another pandemic going on, like in the future, I hope not. It's a once in a lifetime experience. So I think I will appreciate the fact that it actually made me think about things, right? Like it gave me a lot of times to do things. And then I finished the entire Big Bang series in the hotel room. Why not, right? Like I was literally watching the Big Bang series every single day at the desk. Uh, and that's it. Like that's my life when I was in quarantine. I guess yours is probably more exciting.
Well, like most of us, when this whole pandemic was starting, we were going on our March break. We were just supposed to we were just supposed to go for 2 weeks and then come back and just like, hey, what's up, guys? But well, we March it was
That didn't
where,
happen.
yeah, but we all know that March happened. COVID happened, the lockdown happened. So I was going to visit my father in Switzerland because he lives there, he
Mm,
works there, and I was gonna go just to visit him for 2 weeks. But when the college announced that we couldn't come back and there was lockdown, there was no traveling, everything went down in 2 weeks. It was scary. It was really, really scary. We didn't know what's gonna
yeah.
happen. We all thought it was gonna be one month, 2 month thing. But to be honest, I just mentally prepared myself. And
Mm,
again, where I was, where I wasn't in Zurich or Geneva or Lausanne, like a big city or a big place in Switzerland. I was in a roughly small rural area that was very safe. So I was very lucky. I was very, very lucky, to be honest, where I was living, because there was not many people, there was not many cases. So it was practically like lockdown wasn't happening. So I got a chance to spend time with my sister, who was living in the U.S. and had to come to Switzerland as an emergency.
mm,
So it was nice to spend time with her, spend time with my family there. So I learned how to cook. I learned how
yeah,
to
that's nice.
I learned how to babysit with my baby brother. I had a good time with some friends. I met a group of friends that I still talk to these day to this day, and we just like we always remember what we
Vibe.
did. Yeah, so it's very interesting how
It's a
different people,
mix.
yeah, how many how because I was one of the lucky ones, and I fully understand that, and I fully uh I at the time I didn't, but now that I'm seeing what's happening to the world, especially in the US, like I say, oh my God, I got so lucky to go where I was and the position I was in. But yeah, that's my lockdown. But then I really wanted to come to study. I had applied for residence before everything happened. So, and I got residence in my university here, and I really wanted to go back to Canada, play some football. Well, here they call it soccer, and just get back to the place where I am going to spend my next 4 years guaranteed. So I said I can't. Like I was getting far too comfortable in Switzerland, so I said I have to. I have to change scenery and just go again independent, because going from a boarding school that we were kind of independent but not really in studying, to not doing anything
Yeah.
for 6 months. I think both of us had the same experience. I think most of the students in the world had the same experience. And
Yeah.
then you just get you just really just get out of the idea. So you just really want to go back to how it was, to try to be as normal as possible. But yeah, that was pretty much our my lockdown. This the first lockdown.
Yeah. So what's your expectation in 2021 then? Like this year, is it gonna be good? Is it gonna be bad? And
It's funny because there was a meme going around when 2020 comes to an end, no more coronavirus, everything's fixed. So like
yes,
that mentality that everything stays in 2020.
yeah. I was like, guys, time is continuous, okay? The
Yeah,
universe
so
goes.
if you want to be very strict and kind of pessimistic about it, this
Yeah.
year is shaping up to be even worse than last year, because economic recession, the transfer of power of the US, what's going to happen with the world, vaccines, mutated COVID. I can go on and on and on and on, but
Mm-hmm.
we experts say that if everything goes well with the vaccines and there's no side effects, nothing happens like in I Am Legend, we will see things going back to normal, or seeing the sun by summer, or by the end of summer, which
Hopefully.
which would be amazing. I personally, for me, I want to grow a lot. I want to. I'm 18, turning 19, and I think this is the years where you're starting to understand what being a, like living in the real world is. So I want to start working. I really want to work on myself, because 2020
Mm-hmm.
showed us that. I think 2020 was also a wake up call for many people, in terms of how they are with their families and how they are personally. So it really showed me a lot, and I really want to work on myself. So my expectations for 2021 is be positive, hope that everything is getting better the with the vaccine, and just hope that our world leaders, especially in the US, find a compromise and really say that our our priority is the citizens.
Yeah, I guess so. And it's hard to predict this year, really. Like last year was crazy enough to, just to process it. Like this year, seriously, I don't even know. But, one thing we can expect is this podcast.
True.
Yeah, so uh personally, I expect this podcast to be kind of regular things we do every week. If not every week, every other week.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that set yet because we're uni students and we have work too. Um, but we will release at least one episode every month. That's for sure.
At
Um,
least more than that. Like yeah, we are planning to do it once a week. But
yeah, since it gets shifted a lot, so that's our goal. To do one podcast episode per week. And also, beside this podcast, there are two other things going on. One is an collage of articles written by people, youth from around the world, um, called Diversity. Basically, it's a monthly publication where you can, uh, read other people's writings on their life experience, on their opinions, about maybe climate change, maybe some world issues like,
and mostly
that.
mostly those people will be on our podcast as guests or
Yeah,
close friend of ours.
yeah. So they will be on the podcast eventually as guests. Uh, and another long-term project is a YouTube series, a video series like interview or film, called Tomorrow. Maybe it's us or just me interviewing people in different fields
Mm.
of studies or politics or just ways of lives and see how they deal with life problems, how they spend their day. It will be interesting to see, but that will go later. um, I project it will be around summer this year because
Hmm.
that's when I have time to do such thing. Um, so, do you want to talk about the format of
Yeah.
the decent?
So as we said, decent means decem in Latin means 10. So basically, how this pod is going to work, if it's only the two of us like today, or if it's a guest or something else, the basic formatting of this podcast is going to be a little introduction, like hello, like always, and then we're gonna share some worldwide news. I think two or three of the most important news. Like this time it was about the U.S. Scandal that happened the last week,
And though,
and it was a scandal. It was a scandal, and also I think COVID and the vaccine. So those are two. We'll try our best not to be repetitive, but I think COVID and the U.S. are very hot right now. But yeah,
mm,
so that's going to be the format. So it's going to be introduction, um, news, and then 10 questions about what's going on or a
anything.
yeah, anything. It's just a topic that is surrounding
Yeah,
that
it
that
also
time.
depends on whether we have guests or not. So, as we
Yeah,
mentioned, we will have guests on the podcast. So, if there's a guest, um, the questions will be targeted to.
yeah. As Jason said, we'll try to upload a episode every week. If not, there will be one at least once a month. So we will want to record on Friday. I am in charge of the editing, so I will edit the weekend and release it Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. Um,
Mhm.
Jason's in charge of, as he said, his journal and the interviewing stuff. So we both have a different aspect of what this is. Therefore, we are trying our best to also expand this podcast to as many platforms as we can. So we do have an Instagram. It'll be down below if you want to check it out. We'll try. I don't know why, but we'll try to make a TikTok. With highlights. We will try to do that. Spotify. We'll try to have everything. So you guys, if you guys keep following us, keep up to date, and we will try to get the most news as possible for you guys.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's pretty much it.
yeah,
So for our final question, which is a special question because our theme is about diversity, it's about learning, it's about understanding different cultures. So if we have a different guest or a guest, we will ask this question all the time. This will be a question that happens frequently in this podcast, which is, what does your name mean? Because interesting, because
mm,
each name in different areas of the world are different. So like
yeah,
Maria Alejandro, Mujili, what's up with that? So how about you start with what does your name
yeah.
mean?
Usually, actually, in Chinese culture, we put the last name before first name because family is always more important than yourself. So the huge part, your last name, which represents the family, comes first, then your last name, then your first name, and uh, on the screen I will put up how to write my name in Mandarin. It looks like this. Lee is surprised. Coincidentally, my dad are both named Lee, so I can say I named after my mom. But the general rule in China here is you take your dad's name, but that can be negotiated with the parents, between the parents. But I don't know whose name I took because they share the name. And Muji means showering in happiness or luck or that kind of around that um, subject. And my brother's name is Muji, but reverse, so Jimu. Uh, so it's kind of interesting because he stole my name. He took my name because he was named something differently, but it brought some bad lucks to him. So after my birth, my parents like no, getting rid of that and change his name to this way. I guess it's easy, you know. Just takes your brother's name and reverse it. How fun. Yeah. How about you?
Well, as I said before, I have a first name, a middle name, and two last names. It's because it's
Mm,
very common for Latin countries to have two last names, your dad's name and your mom's name. I know for a
mm,
fact that, like in the US and in Canada, you only have your dad's last name, and that goes on. But all in all your official papers, and even how sometimes they call you, you will always have your dad and your mom's name. And it's also very common to have
mm,
a middle name. Uh, According to my
mm,
parents, they only wanted to give me one name, Alejandro, because why did they I think they read a book and there was a character named Alejandro, which they very liked. Also, my mom also liked the name because of some like historical figures like Alexander Fleming, Alexander Hamilton.
mm.
But then the story is my dad is named Mario and my grandfather is named Mario. So I don't know why my grandmother when I was born was like
He must be named Mario.
basically, and my parents just to oblige and just like okay fine we'll just do it. So um that's where Mario came from. So
Yeah.
but I go by as Alex and everybody knows me as
Hmm.
Alex. So but yeah, that's pretty much what my
Yeah.
names mean. Nothing. I think Esparza is Spanish. Well, that's quite obvious because of Mexican history, the
Uh-huh.
conquista. So I don't know if Vera comes from. Vera means truth in or like truthful or something in Italian.
Hmm.
Maybe I have European roots. I don't think so, but um, yeah,
Hard to
that's
tell.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Uh, Ending on
that's
that interesting subject about names. So here we are.
this is the end of the first episode. I hope you guys
Yay.
enjoyed
It's
or
quite long.
yeah. I mean
I mean,
that's normal
it's your
job.
job to edit
Yeah.
it down.
And you gave me a bunch of
And
tasks. You also
guys,
like, here's a picture,
if this
here's my
guy,
name. Like,
if this
what is this? I didn't agree to
uh,
this.
if this guy if this guy did a bad job on editing, blame him, not
No,
me. Okay.
never.
I will be posting Instagram pictures and promoting other things as well.
Mhm.
So if you like you enjoyed listening to this podcast,
Leave a like, leave a
please, yeah,
comment.
leave a like, leave a
If you
comment,
see that
subscribe.
our English is not very good, don't butcher us because our English is not our first language for any of
Yeah.
us here. So give us a break. And yeah, as he
Yeah.
said, if you like it,
Also.
feel free to get in touch if you want to talk about something, if you want us to ask questions to each other or to our future guests.
Hmm.
Also
Yeah, and
put it in
also
the
you can
comments.
comment on what country, like we have friends from all over the world. What countries do you want to hear about, or what country do you want to, watch or know more? So just leave the comments down below or email us with our email address. And also, if you'd like to contribute to the journal diversity, about anything, or if you are interested in writing or just to share your story, your country, or the things you are passionate about, please email us and we'll get detailed to you. And the first issue, which will be the January issue, uh, will be available in February, but the deadline for all submissions is January 25th, 2021. So if you'd love to submit something, even it's the work that you've already done, please do so we can have more voices on this article.
Yeah,
Well, anyways, thank
that's
you
for
very
listening.
much for staying here at all. Like, if you have been sitting through this whole thing, congratulations. Like, I don't know how you did it, but yes.
See you in the next one. Thanks.
See ya.
Cheers.